My name is Claire. I'm 34 years old, and I live in a small town just outside of Seattle. It rains a lot here, and sometimes, I think the weather matches my heart, gray, soft, and always a little heavy. If you saw me walking down the street, you'd probably think I have a good life. I live in a cozy house with white curtains, I have a husband named Daniel, and I work as a teacher at the local elementary school. People often tell me, Claire, you're so lucky. You have such a stable life. But luck is a strange word. Because behind every calm picture, there's often a storm you can't see. Daniel and I have been married for 4 years. He's a good man, patient, honest, steady. He's the kind of man who fixes the leaky faucet before you even notice it's broken. He makes sure my car has gas. He remembers to bring home milk. He's dependable in all the ways that matter, except one. I don't love him. And that's the part I've never said out loud until now. When I met Daniel, I was 29. I had just gotten out of a long, painful relationship with a man named Evan. Evan was everything Daniel wasn't: spontaneous, passionate, wild. He made me feel alive and reckless and sure that love could fix anything. But in the end, his kind of love burned too bright. He left one morning without saying goodbye. He said he needed space. I never saw him again. For months, I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. My friends said I was wasting away. I tried everything to fill the emptiness he left: long walks, late-night movies, meaningless conversations, but nothing worked. That's when Daniel came along. He was quiet, simple, and safe. We met at a friend's dinner party. I remember he offered to drive me home because it was raining. He talked about his job at the bank, about how he liked gardening and old jazz music. He made me laugh that night, and for the first time in months, I didn't cry myself to sleep. A few months later, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes, not because I was in love, but because I was tired of being alone. Sometimes loneliness can be louder than love. Daniel loved me deeply from the beginning. He said I made him feel calm. He said I was the kind of woman he had always dreamed of: kind, steady, soft-spoken. I tried to believe I could become the woman he saw in me. After a year, he proposed. I remember that night so clearly. He took me to the same restaurant where we had our first date. The rain was falling outside the window, and the candlelight flickered across his face. He looked nervous and hopeful. When he opened the small velvet box and said, "Claire, will you marry me?" I froze. Every part of me wanted to say no. But the word yes slipped out instead. I said yes because I was tired of waiting for love that never came back. I said yes because I wanted to move on, to be normal again. I said yes because I thought kindness was enough to build a marriage. But kindness is not love. The first year of our marriage was quiet. Peaceful, even. Daniel would wake up early to make coffee. He'd leave little notes on the fridge. "Have a great day, my love," or "Don't forget your umbrella." He kissed me on the forehead every morning before leaving for work. I smiled and thanked him. Every single time. But inside, I felt like I was performing. There were no big fights, no cruelty, just an emptiness that no amount of effort could fill. My mother used to say, "Claire, love isn't always fireworks. Sometimes it's steady and slow." So I waited. I waited for love to grow like she said it would. But as the years passed, the silence between us grew heavier. One evening, I came home from work and found Daniel in the kitchen, cooking dinner. He was wearing an apron that said "Kiss the Cook." The smell of garlic and rosemary filled the air. He turned to me with a smile and said, You're home early. I made your favorite, baked salmon and roasted potatoes. I smiled back, said thank you, and sat down. But I could barely eat. Watching him made me feel guilty. He looked so happy, so sure that what we had was real. After dinner, he took my hand. Claire, he said, you've been quiet lately. Are you okay? I wanted to tell him the truth, that I felt trapped, that I was drowning in my own silence, but the words wouldn't come. So I said, just tired, Daniel. It's been a long week. He nodded, believing me. He always believed me. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The sound of rain tapped softly against the window. I turned and looked at Daniel sleeping beside me. He looked peaceful. And for a moment, I felt something close to love, not the burning kind, but the tender kind. Maybe that's all I needed, I thought. Maybe I could learn to love him. But deep down, I knew I was lying to myself again. A few months later, Daniel started talking about having children. We were sitting on the porch one Sunday morning. The sky was clear, and the air smelled like rain and fresh coffee. He looked at me with a soft smile and said, Claire, I think we should start a family. My heart stopped. I looked away and said, I don't know if I'm ready. He squeezed my hand gently. I think we'd make great parents. He meant it. I could see it in his eyes, the hope, the excitement, the belief that love could grow stronger through a child. But I knew the truth. Bringing a child into a loveless marriage would only add more pain. So I said, maybe next year, even though I knew that next year would never come. After that day, something in Daniel changed. He didn't talk as much. He started coming home later from work. He still cooked dinner, still said goodnight, but there was a quiet sadness in his eyes. One night, I found him sitting alone in the living room, staring at our wedding photo. He didn't hear me come in. I stood there, watching him. The man in that photo, smiling, happy, full of love, felt like a stranger now. I wanted to reach out and say something, but what could I say? I'm sorry I don't love you? Instead, I went back to bed and cried silently. A few weeks later, my best friend Lily came to visit. We sat at a cafe downtown, watching people walk by. She sipped her coffee and said, Claire, you look pale. Is everything okay? I stared at my cup for a long time. Lily, I don't know how to say this. I don't think I love Daniel. Her eyes softened. When did you realize that? I think I always knew, I said quietly. But I kept hoping it would change. It never did. Claire, love isn't something you can force. Daniel deserves honesty. And so do you. I nodded, but tears filled my eyes. He's such a good man, Lily. He doesn't deserve this pain. Lily sighed. No one deserves pain, Claire. But living a lie hurts both of you. That night, her words echoed in my head. Living a lie hurts both of you. 2 days later, I found Daniel in the garden. He was trimming the roses. The sun was setting, and the sky glowed orange and pink. Daniel, I said softly, can we talk? He looked up. Of course. What's wrong? I sat on the wooden bench and took a deep breath. I need to tell you something. He wiped his hands on a towel and sat beside me. His face was calm, patient. That made it harder. Daniel, I whispered, you've been nothing but good to me. You've given me everything I could ever ask for. But I can't keep pretending anymore. He frowned slightly. Pretending? I don't love you, I said. The words came out so quietly I wasn't sure he heard me. But he did. He looked down for a long moment. His jaw tightened. Finally, he said, I know. My heart sank. You know? He nodded slowly. I've known for a while. I just kept hoping I was wrong. Tears welled in my eyes. I'm so sorry, Daniel. I never wanted to hurt you. He looked at me, eyes full of pain but no anger. I don't hate you, Claire. I just wish you'd told me sooner. Maybe we could have faced it together. I was scared, I said. I didn't want to lose you. He gave a sad smile. You can't lose something you never really had. I cried then, quietly, helplessly. Daniel reached out and held my hand one last time. You don't owe me love, he said. But you owe yourself the truth. A week later, I moved out. I packed a few bags, left my keys on the counter, and stood by the doorway one last time. The house felt heavy with silence. Every corner held a memory, the night we painted the walls, the mornings we drank coffee, the sound of rain against the window. Daniel stood by the stairs, his hands in his pockets. Take care, Claire, he said softly. I nodded. You too. And then I left. I moved into a small apartment near the school. The rent was high, the walls were thin, but it was mine. The first night I slept there, I felt both lonely and free. Every morning, I walked to work through the park. I started journaling again. I wrote down everything, my regrets, my fears, my hopes. Writing helped me breathe. Lily visited often. One evening, we sat on my balcony drinking tea. She said, "You look lighter, Claire." I smiled faintly. Maybe I finally stopped lying to myself. She nodded. Do you miss him? I thought for a moment. I miss the peace of having someone beside me. But I don't miss the silence between us. Months passed. Seasons changed. I painted the walls pale blue and filled the apartment with plants. I learned to enjoy the quiet, not fear it. Sometimes, I saw Daniel in town. Once at the grocery store, once at the park. We always smiled politely, said hello. There was no bitterness, just acceptance. One afternoon, he sent me a short message. Hi, Claire. Just wanted you to know I'm okay. I've been traveling more. Found a small cabin near the coast, it's peaceful there. I hope you're doing well. I stared at the message for a while before replying. I'm doing okay, Daniel. Thank you for everything you gave me. I wish you peace and happiness. He replied with just 2 words, you too. And that was the last time we spoke. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I make my own coffee. I open the window and let the air in. The world outside still rains sometimes, but it feels softer now. I'm still learning who I am. I'm still healing. But I no longer live in a story that doesn't belong to me. But I think I did have something, a lesson. When you use someone to forget your pain, you don't heal, you only pass the wound on. A heart borrowed to ease your loneliness will one day remind you of the damage you caused. In the end, you'll realize that love built on escape always leads to regret. And if you're listening to this and you feel stuck in a life that doesn't feel like yours, please remember this. It's never too late to choose honesty. It's never too late to start again.
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and real-life stories with life lessons are coming soon.